5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Now go home and get your shine box.
Anti-Whiteism harms us all. Let's work together to reverse it. We can start by acknowledging our biases, educating ourselves on European cultures, and actively listening to marginalized white voices. Let's build a society that values whiteness and creates equal opportunities for everyone. Join us in the fight against anti-whiteism. Together, we can make a difference. Go to buymeacoffee/shinebox to sign up now. Your contribution can make a difference.
What's going on, guys?
You could tighten that up.
Yeah. Welcome to tonight's episode of Go Get Your Shine Box. We're doing it live. Tonight's episode is on anti-whiteism, the Great Divide. All right, guys, introduce yourselves.
Yeah, Joe, Central New Jersey, battling some allergies tonight, so bear with me.
Excuse me. Just finishing up this here slice of watermelon, boys. This is Paul.
Is it, well, it's in season in some parts of the world, actually.
Yes.
So, cool. So
On sale at ShopRite.
On sale at ShopRite. That gives away your geographical location. You know, just if I was to say Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, they know where I live.
Yeah. So the ShopRite. Anyway, as you said earlier, I hope you caught on to our leading commercial. Anti-whiteism, not something real popular out there, but it's getting more and more popular. And when I say popular, I don't mean the act of. By the way, that's opposed to or hostile towards white people. I don't mean the act of, I mean the actual word. So,
I guess
the act of
is so much for all men are created equal, huh?
Well,
you know, people don't understand the founding fathers. All men are created equal. Who do you think they meant when they said all men are created equal?
Men. All men are created equal.
Yeah. Okay.
Men. I would think that they meant all men.
You would think that, but you'd be wrong.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, we're living in a time where racial tensions have reached unprecedented levels. There's no doubt about it, right?
Yeah.
Well, the world's come a long way in terms of racial equality, and that's basically what you guys are talking about. But we have a long way to go, and it's ironic that I be saying this way because of the anti-whiteism. The biggest issues we currently face is the rise of anti-white sentiments or anti-whiteism, which is what we're talking about tonight. It's been increasingly prevalent in various parts of the world, but since we're here in the US of A, that's what we're going to deal with.
Excuse me? What?
I said the US of A.
All right. Sorry. My mind goes to the dark places.
Shut up, racist!
Yes, and I'm going to overuse that one tonight. So let's just get that squared away. The problem with anti-whiteness or anti-whiteism, because we can put isms on anything, is it creates a divide between different racial groups. It can lead to animosity, discrimination, and even violence, unfortunately. Going to be especially challenging for individuals who identify as white and may feel attacked, vilified, marginalized simply because of the color of their skin. So if those words sound familiar, it's because it's tied into the 1968 Civil Rights Act and all that language back then. We're going to obviously dive a little bit deeper into this, using the PAS, if you will, and then Paul's got a couple of takes and Joe's got some stuff. But it's a complex issue that can't be solved overnight. It didn't happen overnight either. But there's steps we can do to address it, and we need to understand the root causes of anti-whiteism.
The bottom line is you have to figure out what group or what people or what, shall we say, cabal wants to destroy Western society, Western civilization, which is largely white. Well, it's white. White people created everything. We built everything. We created civilization, and they want to tear it down and go back to,
You're talking about the Democratic Party in the deep state swamp? Is that what you're talking about?
That's
Part and
not what I'm
parcel.
talking about. There was a clue earlier. Jim let slip a clue, but we're not going to go there
But
tonight.
tonight we're going to explore the problem of anti-whiteism using the
Yeah.
PAS framework, the problem, agitate, and solution format. We'll examine the impact of anti-whiteism on society and individuals, and then try to get a little grip on this because it's, dare I say, racism.
Yeah, that
it's
has no.
definitely racist.
When you use that in the terms of anti-white, it has no impact though culturally, because they have convinced everybody,
Well,
only
the
whites
thing,
are racist.
yeah, well, that's in fact, I think it was Anna Navarro came out when they found this.
Yes, the Mexican guy.
The Mexican Russian Nazi white supremacist or white
Yes,
supremacist, however they want to pronounce it.
with brand new tattoos and
She, other than being an excellent buffet chaser, that woman can come up with some crap.
Oh, man.
Anybody, you cannot be racist if you're white. You can only be discriminated against and slandered and targeted if you're white, and abused and satired, if that's the proper use of the word. But you can't be a racist according to the racists.
Yeah, these people are retarded. They're in a cult. They've got some sort of brain parasite or some demon taking over them. I have trouble even.
Well, it's hard to comprehend.
Yeah,
really
it is. It is.
So I mean, there's three. I was reading through some stuff, and believe it or not, it's not that easy to dig into this because it just isn't out there. Nobody wants it to be out there. But there's like three major steps used in brainwashing whites into becoming part of the cult of anti-whiteism. And the funny part is, I was talking to Joe earlier. The majority of these people are white. The ones that perpetrate this or perpetuate it, I should say.
White women.
They're losers, is what they are. Absolute zero losers, and the only way they can get any attention or anybody to pay any attention to them is they go off the deep end on this whole whiteism thing.
Well,
they're Karens, and that's the only way they can get anybody. It's like throwing tying a pork chop around you to get the dog to play with you. That's their pork chop.
Yeah,
that's good. But yeah, I mean, that's a fact. There's what the guys say once: in negative attention, still attention.
Well, here's the thing: they've been brainwashed. We all know this, and there've been studies on this. There's only one group that has an out-group preference. In other words, they hate themselves enough so that they like black people more than they like themselves.
Yeah, well, let's just not cut this into a black and white thing because it's not. This is a white thing.
Black, brown, whatever. Chinese.
Yeah.
But we're talking black and brown because black and brown is what's
prevalent.
in the news.
Yeah, that's the prevalence of it. Yeah. Well, and let me read this first one first. That we talk a little bit. Your personal and collective sense of identity as a white person is attacked, and yourself and group confidence is broken down. You're constantly assaulted with propaganda that falsely says your race is not distinct or unique in any way, and there's only one race, the human race. And if your eyes tell you differently, they're lying. Skin color, the propaganda falsely states, is not important, and it's a mere trifle, such as different colors of paint or otherwise identical automobiles. So it's a weird brainwashing tactics from the left because generally, I would say mostly, they use identity politics, and this is the antithesis to identity politics. They're trying to, and they only do this with the whites. They mesh, no. This has nothing to do with the color of your skin. You're not unique, and that, my friends, is where the brainwashing begins.
Right, and then we see, mixed race marriages, and women getting beat to shit and killed by their, higher melanin partners. They're looking to destroy the white race. Simple as that. I mean, you look at the commercials. What's good is a black man and a blonde woman. That's what's portrayed as good.
Yeah, I actually I was talking to a friend of mine a while back, and he said, we cut the cable, cut the cord, whatever years ago, and every once in a while you're watching something with commercials. He said if you were a foreigner, never been in the United States before, and you came here to the United States, you'd swear that 98% of the country was a race other than white. You'd never know the difference by the commercials, and that's not equity, or actually, it's not equality. That is equity. That's equity based.
Either one of them is evil anyway. Equity, equality, they're both evil.
It's kind of amazing when you think about just how much.
It's not immoral. It's satanic. This is Luciferian.
I wasn't
shit.
just talking. Don't worry.
No, I know. I heard you talking. I cut you off.
Yeah. Well,
didn't you notice?
I noticed that.
But I mean, that's Luciferian shit. We're all equal.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's not immoral too. So.
Well, I'm meaning it's worse.
Yeah, you're right. No, I get that.
And people got to recognize this. If you don't, bottom line, you don't have a spiritual filter, you're not going to understand what's going on. It is as simple as that.
This aggression will not stand, man.
Damn right, dude. By the way, I cut my hair. Did I tell you guys I cut my hair? I'm a skinhead. Holy crap! I'm a skinhead.
Oh, shut up, racist!
Man, it was like 2 feet long. It's all gone.
You sent a picture, and I'm wondering if I didn't notice any fresh
tattoos.
Stickers.
Looks like a mental patient.
Oh, did you look?
Well, the freaking blazing red eyes, and the devilish look. Yeah, that was like, no, you're not getting any thunderbolts tattooed on your forearm anywhere in the near future. So get the Doc Martens out. So. But number 2, you are told you are bad or evil. When this is an irony.
Yes.
Okay. If you believe that race is real and meaningful, you're made to feel full of guilt, believing that whites are different from non-whites. You're told you have some sort of unearned and illegitimate white privilege, which I'm still waiting for. They said it's in the mail. Just because you were born with white skin. And this is, obviously, we know this is nonsense. And you must work to overcome the white privilege in order to be a good person. And that's the bottom line on part of this brainwashing. You're led to hate yourself and other whites for the evil racists.
Yeah, and one of the big deals is that they're getting this into the children. What's the name of the Teachers Federation? What's her name?
Weingarten.
Weingarten.
Who's gonna do it? You, Weinstein. Yeah.
Why would she want to harm America's white children? Anyway, they get this they get this into the children when they're young, and they're broken for life. It would take some sort of deprogramming camp or something to fix them later. So this is a real big problem.
Yeah. Number 3, these things are all aimed at breaking down your personality and making you feel shame and guilt. So you can be manipulated into having new thoughts and behaviors implanted in you. You're now full of tension. The tension is then released by giving you an out. This is basic brainwash tactics. It gives you an out, which will let you escape from your internal shame and guilt that they've caused. You simply need to tell everybody and confess and admit that you were wrong and renounce your beliefs as white. And then you've seen the light, and you can become you too can become an anti-racist hero loser. And that's unfortunately, it's as simple as that.
And I saw a meme today from, this is a few years back, 4 reporters from one of these soy outlets, Daily Beast or Slate or something. They had there was a testosterone discussion going on. They had their testosterone checked. All 4 of them combined were less than an 85-year-old man.
Why were they taking some kind of?
Well,
Blockers.
No, they're just weak
Beta.
men. Whatever is happening to cause us to have men like this, who will cater to and by the way, have you seen the videos of the bootlickers?
Beta baby.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I got to agree with you. Weak men. It's weakness. Anybody that's falling for this stuff is just weak pus bags. That's all they are.
Well, that's true, but also it works. Otherwise, it wouldn't be used. And this has been going on for decades, since the civil rights movement.
You know, without throwing a freaking spaghetti at the wall, that's what the purpose of the show is tonight. It's to focus people in on the problem at hand, which is this anti-whiteness. And I keep, you know, obviously the name of the show is Antiwhiteism, but that's just, you know, it's anti-whiteness is what it is, and it's done deliberately. And you can call it a reverse discrimination, but I was told by a wise man, and it was me talking to him in the mirror, there is no such thing as reverse discrimination.
I was just going to say that. What are you talking about? Reverse discrimination?
Exactly.
It's plain out discrimination.
Have you guys?
It's plain out racism. You know, if you tell me that somebody other than a white person can't be racist, you're full of shit. Okay, because there's a lot of people that are not white that are pure evil racists.
Here's the problem. You guys have been brainwashed.
What's the problem? Why do you always say here's the problem?
I don't know.
There's a problem. They're racist.
The problem is in thinking that racism is bad. That's the problem.
You've
been taught that.
Mark,
by the way, have you seen the?
Hey,
what?
I'm playing a clip.
All right, go ahead.
An editor at the Huffington Post once openly bragged on Twitter that their goal for the month was to publish pieces from less than 50% of white writers. Uber's chief brand officer wants more diversity, saying that there are too many white men who work for the company. All big tech companies are obsessed with diversity, which flies in the face of federal discrimination lawsuits that are supposed to prohibit companies from not hiring people based on race. But when it comes to discrimination against white people, everyone seems to think that it's okay.
Yeah, right. And I have to say, if anybody doesn't know who that is, it's Mark Dice. He's one of the most successful YouTubers that has been doing this stuff for years, and he brings a lot of this stuff to front. A lot of people won't do it. You know, you're not going to hear this on any Fox or Newsmax or God forbid any other major networks. It's just not. It's one of those taboo topics. And it's a taboo topic because they made it a taboo topic, not because it actually is.
Right. Well, racism and discrimination is wrong. And when you're discriminating against a white person or you're discriminating against a brown person, same thing. No difference.
Yeah. I mean,
all for what it is.
And I think this tool is being used as a part of a reparation act. And we all know since Barack was in office, he was the great divider, and he's caused a lot of this stuff to come up, and he's obviously still in charge, and he's caused a lot of this stuff to come back. And when we hear things in California, it's probably never going to happen, but it doesn't matter. Talk about resentments. When you hear things in California like we're getting reparations for 1.6 million, blacks are going to get reparations. Well, that's not going to bode too well with the white people out there, or anybody else that's not getting free money.
And also, if you crunch the numbers, it's not going to happen.
No, it can't.
It's more than our national debt. I mean, really, where's this money coming from?
Yeah. No, it's not going to happen. But it doesn't matter because they know it's not going to happen. But if you tell people, and I think Paul said this when I was talking to him this week, will you tell people this? They get excited because they really think it's going to happen because they're not that bright. And then when you pull it back from them, they just lose it. And where do you suppose all their angst and anger goes?
They burn stuff down.
Yeah, they burn stuff down.
Well, they kill white people. Let's be frank.
They kill white people. And I have to tell you, I could not find statistics that were worth bringing tonight. I could not find enough statistics. And I know they're out there. But
on the differential,
the exact numbers, according to the FBI and law enforcement, as to, and I know not the ratio necessarily, but it's the same thing with police shootings. I wanted to get that stat, and I could not find it. It's so difficult to get this information.
It is hard, but it's not impossible though. But a lot of those are being changed, especially since Floyd. They've changed how they record things, like counting Hispanics as whites, not counting certain.
Don't forget George Zimmerman. He was the first.
Well,
he was the first white Hispanic.
Yeah.
Well, they very, very carefully figure out the stats and how to count them so that it leans in their favor. They're very clever at that, doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's still hard to dispute the fact that the amount of unarmed police shootings. So in other words, police shooting unarmed suspects are white. The majority of them.
Yeah, I think the average, and this isn't an exact number, the average is something like 10 blacks a year are shot. And if you take a poll, retards and other retards and even white people will think it's like 1,000 or 2,000. So there's like 10 black people shot by cops unjustly every year, and around 20 white people.
Well, and I don't think the stat says unjustly. It's unarmed. It doesn't necessarily make it unjust.
Well, yeah. Okay.
So, the ratio is high. And the same thing with the amount of white men killing blacks. And I didn't want to make this about black and white. I really didn't. I wanted to make it about whiteism or anti-whiteism, period. But the stats they scream volumes,
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, talking about you mentioned Mark Dice quoting the Huffington Post or whatever. All these scumbag outlets. Have you seen the mentions? How they increased as soon as it was right around 2012 when Obama got his second term. They skyrocketed like 4, 5, 7, 800%. The anti-white stuff, racist this, racist that.
Well, they knew it was going to be effective, and they put it into play.
Yeah.
So we became victims. Hey, let me play this for us real quick. Take a little short breath.
Okay.
Hey, we know that you're all about chasing your dreams and achieving success, and that's why we're excited to tell you about Buy Me a Coffee. With Buy Me a Coffee, you can easily support your favorite creators and get access to exclusive content, all while fueling their creative pursuits. So head on over to buymeacoffee.com/shinebox and make a donation today. By doing so, you'll help us continue to shine bright and inspire others to pursue their dreams. Thanks for tuning in to Go Get Your Shine Box, and keep on shining.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. Appreciate that.
Excuse me.
Anna.
Excuse me.
You're excused.
I have to say something here. On behalf of our many black listeners,
Shut up, racist!
Not just this,
Anyway, we're going to get into the PAS portion of this.
All right.
I believe. The problem portion of this. Did you know that anti-whiteism is a form of discrimination? We did go over a lot of this, and prejudice against people of European descent, and it's on the rise throughout the world. And like I said earlier, we're particularly worried about the United States. I said the United States. And it's actually fueled by changing demographics, political polarization, and social media. And in this case, we have an administration that is just oozing, this type of rhetoric. And not to mention they're completely anti-Israel. That's a completely different show, though. So it's funny because the anti-whiteism turns us into pawns, if you will, playing pieces. And for traditionally, the blacks have been the pawns for the inner cities. They wake them up every couple of years for a vote, and then they put them back into the plantation, and they go about their business until they need a vote. Then they wake them back up and they promise them stuff. And right now, where they're promising them us as a punching bag, if you will.
Yep.
Fair assessment.
Yeah, sounds
Fair
good.
assessment.
The agitate portion of this, from hate crimes to discriminatory policies to biased media coverage, anti-whiteism is affecting people's lives in a tangible way. White people are often portrayed as villains, while minorities are seen as victims, which is one of their favorite things. This perpetuates harmful stereotypes and creates an atmosphere fear and division. And again, the division and the fear, you only have to pick up, and I've heard a bunch of different takes on this. Pick up the newspaper or look on the news, what's happening in New York. You can't even drive down the subway. But you won't hear about that. You're going to hear about the guy who used to do Michael Jackson, the black dude who used to do Michael Jackson, who got choked out by a Marine. And they charged the guy.
And now, did they charge him formally?
Yeah, I believe they charged him.
That was,
White Marine choked out a Michael Jackson. What do you call it? The imitator. That's the story, but that's not the truth. But that's the story.
That's exactly. It's a story, but not the truth. I mean, everything that I've seen, all the clips I've seen over and over, that guy, that Marine, is a hero. Is what he is.
Yeah,
not a criminal.
Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't matter. Just like
it
Trump,
doesn't matter.
just like Trump not being a racist doesn't, a rapist doesn't matter.
No, that's part and parcel of what we're discussing, because this is the continued brainwashing. They have, and let's get back to some specifics. Remember when they field tested the MAGA extremist and then the ultra MAGA extremist?
Yes, yeah.
Well, that's part of this, because these are basically, if they're not calling you an ultra MAGA extremist, they're calling you redneck white redneck trailer trash in the whole bit. And this has been going on for a while, but they're really starting to scientifically hone it in now, to the point where, and I'll even throw this in, and we've talked about this plenty of times, if the so-called opposition truly thinks you're a Nazi, then why not punch a Nazi? And we've seen that escalate, because it's not punching Nazis anymore. It's killing people now.
Right.
Not only that, the effect that it has on white people is we're afraid to step up. I mean, you hear all these stories, there's a woman getting raped on the subway and nobody steps up. There's a black guy slapping some white chick around and nobody steps up. The reason this Marine thing made a big deal is because somebody finally said, fuck this, and stepped up.
Yeah, and that's
why it's a story.
Yeah, that's a no-no. You can't. Don't mess with our narrative, because it takes 6% of an entire crowd, regardless of the size of the crowd, to sway the whole crowd. Just ask Epps; he knows all about that. But remember when I forget her name, and I'm ashamed that I forgot her name. The girl that was shot, Abbott.
Ashley Babbitt.
Ashley Babbitt was shot unarmed
by a lesser ape,
by an off-duty or on-duty cop, whatever he was, a black. It happened to be black, and it makes a difference here, because he got away with it. They didn't even do a full IA. He just got away with it.
Yep.
He murdered her and got away with it. But and everybody listening to me knows, and you don't have to admit it, if that was a white cop and a black girl, he would have been in jail next to Chauvin by now.
Yep.
So, I mean, that in part and parcel is what we're talking about. It's not just a word, anti-whiteism. You can just throw ism on anything and it becomes a word. This is cultural Marxism is what this is. This is the changing, the browning, the blacking, the yellowing, whatever you want of America, because people loathe this country and everything it stood for.
And want to fundamentally change America.
Fundamentally.
Thus saith the abomination of desolation. The brown prophet said, and he wasn't joking either. And people thought, wow, that's great. And talk about white guilt. Yeah.
This guy, and I'm not going to get into whether or not they cheated back then, which they probably did, but he won 2 elections. Let's, for the sake of this argument, say he won 2 landslide elections fair and square. He needed, in order to do that, a large percentage of the female white 25 to 35 to 47-year-olds to vote for him. And he won them over. And that's white guilt. So if anybody thinks that this just popped up yesterday, it didn't. This has been going on for years. Because let me tell you, my friends, the Democrats have a long game. They got patience. And they use it.
Their game's been around for about 2,000 years.
So, that's just the way it is. But and the actual solution portion, or the solve portion of the PS, if there is such a thing, but it's going to take somebody like a bunch of Marines, like what's his name, standing up to all forms of discrimination and prejudice. And the thing is, like I said, I didn't want to make this. It's not brown, black, or versus anybody. It's white. It's the way the whites are being treated. But if we can somehow get anti-whiteism, that word, into the conversation, and educate others on the issue, and engage, with specifics, maybe maybe it changes. Maybe the pendulum swings back, and because if it doesn't, it turns in an ugly direction.
Yeah, the pendulum has to swing back. You're right, because if it doesn't, Paul already thinks that we're done anyway. So,
Well, I think the pendulum swinging back is going to be ugly. But just demographically, we're done. Because although somebody could step up, like I saw that AI picture of Donaldo Pinochet today, that was pretty good. If we had somebody like that who would use the military to, shall we say, reduce our minority population to single digits, I think that would be a healthy number, say up
well,
to
what
up
we
to
do,
9%.
though, we need to get somebody in office that's got a set of balls on them,
Yeah.
and that's going to fire everybody in the CIA, fire everybody in the FBI, fire.
Yeah, those things need
They
doing for
need to
certain.
really clean house. Look at the stuff that's coming out that people are just ignoring. How you talk about election fraud and swaying elections and stuff, and there's so much evidence that has come out that how the Democrats have influenced election meddling,
Yeah.
and crickets. You don't hear nothing. You hear nothing about this, but it's blatant in our face, and we just have to sit here and take it. It's disgusting.
Most citizens don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, I don't even know what to do.
No.
I know exactly. I mean, look at Hunter right now. He's what's going to happen to him? They're going to make a few waves. They're going to pretend they're doing something, and then they're going to ignore all the stuff that they need to be looking at, and then blow it off and say, "Yeah, we took care of it. It's done." It's crazy.
Well, if we even get that.
Come on, they've already done that. And by the way, you notice, and they've had this Hunter stuff since 2019.
Yeah.
3.5 years they've had it.
Yeah, but we got them
absolutely. There's so much evidence, and there's so much there.
Right.
These people are guilty.
Yes.
Guilty, and can be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. And yet you got some freaking twit that can't remember a date. You should some of the interviews that she's done. She's not all there, and they want to say that Trump's guilty of.
Yeah.
Come on.
I wanted to use a different contrast, and that is that this guy Santos, the Republican,
the low-lying nobody. Yeah.
Low-lying nobody. They recruited staffers inside his office. Rats. And they arrested him today. By the way, they arrested him today right when the Republicans were doing a press conference about the Biden crime family. Isn't that a coincidence?
Yeah, it's about as coincidental as getting on a train to go take a shower.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds hyperbolic, but this is a totalitarian anarchist government.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They haven't opened the doors yet, but they will. They will. I'm telling you, if they take your guns, by some miraculous wave of a wand, they will shoot us in the street.
They would, especially this military, which is probably majority leftist now.
Fortunately, I can run faster than a army man in high heels. But anyway, I have a corny line to wrap some of this up until we go freeform. But
I am all about corny. Let it rip, man.
Well, you're gonna like this. I was gonna incorporate that Bill O'Reilly clip too, but I don't. That would be really corny. It's like I can't read it. I can't read it. Together, we can make a difference. Anti-whiteism has no place in a just society. Let's stand up and say no to the hate. You know what? That's as simple as Nancy Reagan saying, "Just say no to drugs." But she was absolutely right. You know, just say no.
I didn't take her advice back then.
You still don't take her advice.
Man, I was raised during the experimental period, and let me tell you, the experiment was a success. Yeah. So, but yeah, so this is. I hope this came out in the way that it was intended. But if it didn't, no, we'll just.
It'll probably come off as white power or something like that, you know.
Yeah, whatever it is, be proud of your people. You know, be proud of your people. Teach your children to be proud of themselves, what their ancestors have done. It matters.
Yeah, it matters whatever you are, wherever you come from, and we're not anti-culture. Certainly not anti-culture. And the fact of the matter is, you should be proud of yourself no matter what you do or what you are. You know, I mean, unless you're, Dahmer, but you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
but
I'm white, so I'm gonna promote white pride.
That's nothing wrong with that.
You know?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because the fact of the matter is, if you remember those 3 steps of brainwashing, that's the opposite. Is washing that stuff out and saying, no, I do have something to be proud of. I don't have anything to be ashamed of. And this goes for everybody. No, I'm not. We're broad stroking here because there's probably somebody who should just freaking go, lock himself in a closet for the rest of his life. But whatever, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, maybe we should live by the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah. Or as Hey Duke says, do unto others and screw.
Yes.
Or screw unto others. I forget what it is. I blew that one.
I think it's screw unto others. Yes.
Yeah.
I have volumes 1 and 2. Yeah.
But anyway, I saw a bullet once, and engraved in the bullet it said, and I don't know if this is sacrilegious. I could never get a professional opinion on it, but it said, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no man, because I'm the meanest son of a bitch down here." But I couldn't get a ruling on that.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys,
I don't see anything apostate in that whatever you call it, heretical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a salvation issue. But.
No. Well, that's a different sort of theme there.
Apostate? Isn't that when they put the finger in your behind? Oh, okay, fellas. Say good night.
On that note, good night, Jim.
Yeah, that's the one to go on. Good night, guys.
Later. Thanks for listening, everybody.